Hi there, Nigel Saunders here of KW Bonsai. It's been about 2 months since we pruned our Ficus microcarpa down, reducing the height about halfway. And the new leaves are growing in, and it's time to look at the tree, do some pruning and some more cleaning up. I usually start on the top of the tree, pruning it down, and then clean up the base of the tree. But I think today we're going to do the opposite. The base is in need of a good cleanup, is how I would say it. The moss is growing really thick in the front. We've got a lot of leaves and debris here. We've got some aerial roots growing that we need to maybe sort the direction out. We'll start with this aerial root that's growing sideways. I'm going to see if I can separate it from the tree trunk here. It's a little bit fused in. There's little fine root hairs that grip the bark of the trunk here. There we go. And I'll try and position it so it's going down. That looks good there. I'll give it a mist to make sure these root hairs stay nice and moist while they're developing. Next, I'm going to clean up all this debris that's on top of the moss. These are just old leaves that have fallen off the tree. It's a natural process. The leaves do shed as they get older. So don't be alarmed if the occasional leaf turns yellow and falls off your tree. It's perfectly natural. Next on our to-do list is removing some weeds. There's not many weeds, but we do want to get rid of them. Next, we want to get rid of these roots that are growing over the lip of the pot. So we want to trim them back somewhere where they'll subdivide and grow, hopefully in the soil. So we just kind of peel them off and trim them back. The next operation I want to do is to prune my moss down. So again, we're just going to come in with our curved scissors. These are surgical scissors. They're used for removing stitches, for cutting away stitches. I get them at our surplus store. They're $2.50 each, which is a really good price. If they get dull, you can try sharpening them or just buy another pair. And they work really nicely for pruning moss. And you can get them in various sizes. Here's my bigger ones, which are probably better for doing this job. If you had a small tree, you might want to use the smaller sizes. So we want to prune back all the moss from the lip of the pot. And get your moss all nice and trim and tidy. I've got the moss pruned down in height, so now I'm going around the edges of the pot to trim any moss away from the lip of the pot. So you can see the lip of the pot really nicely now. No moss hanging over. And then you can transition your moss from the lip of the pot to kind of blend your ground level in so it starts at the lip of the pot or slightly below and comes up to your tree. As I said, pruning moss can be as artistic as you want it. You can prune clumps of moss, you can make it all short. You can do a lot of different things by pruning moss. And you can get a different feeling for the tree. If you prune it all short and trim, it looks like a mowed lawn underneath your tree. Or if you have sand transitioning into the moss, you can change the look again to look like it's in a drier area. If you keep your moss really long in places, it can look like it's clumps of grass or bushes. So moss is pretty versatile. You can do a lot of things with it. I've got the moss roughly pruned up. I haven't done much around the edges here because we've got moss growing up the trunk, so we want to pull all that off. So we just grab it with the tweezers and pull it off. After about half an hour or so, I've got the front of the root base pretty well moss free. I'm just pruning the moss around the front here now. You can see I've cleared it away from the root base so we don't have moss so close to the roots, which I think looks more natural. You know, you usually don't get moss growing up underneath the shade of a tree because the moss in this case represents grass. So after I've got all the moss cleaned off here, I want to scrub down the roots. I'm just going to spray them with water and get a toothbrush and try and get any algae or discoloration off them. Our goal is to get that uniform gray ficus texture right from the roots going into the soil all the way up to the top of the tree. I'm working my way from the soil line up the tree. Up in the canopy here, we've got a lot of leaves that have fallen down in here. Just dried up leaves. So I'm going to pick all those out. The leaves that are stuck up there, they block the light going to the green leaves, so you want to keep your inner structure of the tree fairly clean, because these broom style trees, they will collect a lot of debris in all the crooks and crannies of the branches and trunks. In the last video we did quite a severe profile type pruning or hedge style pruning to the top of the tree, and all the new growth is now coming in, and we have to manage that. If you don't manage it, it just becomes a big tangled mess up there. So we want to prune out any unwanted branches that are growing in the wrong direction. You know, ones that are growing in towards the center of the tree instead of fanning gracefully outwards from the tree. Branches that, you know, are crisscrossing other branches and that kind of thing. Cleaning up the structure before it starts growing in really dense. I've got an example of a branch here, a clip and grow branch, where the branch was shooting out this direction. I pruned it back here, cut it off, you know, leaving a bit of a stub. And the new growth has come in more in a horizontal direction. And this kink here gives a nice natural look. It's not a lazy bend that you would get with wire. It's kind of a sharp kink. It's justified and looks miniature and realistic. So I'm just going to prune off the stub that's sticking up like that. And we've got 1, 2 shoots, so I'm just going to prune this one off a little shorter here. So again, our new shoot will grow in even more horizontal, and we'll get another nice kink in the branch of change of direction, and it should look pretty good. I've got another example of growth that shoots straight up here and grows in towards the center of the tree, so I'm going to prune that off. It was just a small shoot. So I'm going to go around the tree, shortening some branches, following the rule, you know, 1 branch goes to 2 branches, goes to 4 branches, goes to 8 branches. Doing directional pruning. This tree had the window side at the back of the tree, so all the branches are greener and fuller at the back. All the leaves are pointing towards the sun at the back. If you want to encourage growth on the front of the tree, you would put the front of the tree facing the window. If you wanted to encourage growth on the side of the tree, you'd put one side of facing the window and then alternate it with the other side to get your canopy to grow wider, which is what we want to do with this tree. So we've got these back branches filled in nicely now. So I'm going to change the rotation of the tree so the sun's coming in on the side, one side at a time, to encourage more vigor left and right. I finished pruning the branches. We didn't take a whole lot off. couple of handfuls. Just a lot of tip pruning to get more ramification. Fixing quite a few crossing branches. Now there is still a lot of crossing branches that will have to get sorted out eventually. But sometimes when there's no solution, it's best just to leave it. Keep pruning it, and usually something will, a new branch will form or sprout off some of the old wood eventually, and you may get it the direction you want. So you just have to be patient in some of your troubled areas, and eventually you'll get them sorted out. Next steps for this tree, we're going to try and grow the left and right hand side of the canopy out wider. And we're not going to try and do it all at once, or you'll just get a bunch of straight branches sticking out here. So it'll be a slow development over the years to try and get, a nice branch structure and get it wider. We'll try and keep our height about the same. And the other thing we want to do is continue to develop our root flare, so our roots come from horizontal and flow up towards the trunk. So it's getting there. You can see this side, we're getting kind of a nice root flare. So it's coming. And someday we'll probably, try and get aerial roots coming down from the branches to give it that real nice banyan style look to it. Today's video, we just took small steps, cleaning it up, examining the tree, doing some styling that will, get our branches growing in better directions in the future. Small steps towards our larger goal. And most of the work in bonsai is small steps. You're not always wiring and styling trees. Most of it's small steps that get towards a really nice tree. So Nigel Saunders of KW Bonsai, do something green today. Try and set an example to your children and to others in your neighborhood of green practices. Walk to the stores, ride your bikes, try to use less electricity, try not to drive cars all the time. Just try and do green things, and hopefully it'll rub off on your community. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.